So it's always fun to share e-bikes with friends and get some different perspectives, and I'm here with my friend Cheryl.
Hi.
And I was so excited to get your feedback on this because you've done like downhill mountain biking and you're kind of like extreme off-road.
A little bit, yeah. And so I'm really excited about e-bikes because us downhill bikers every now and again like to have a little bit of ease and a little bit of help, right?
Yeah.
Especially when your muscles are a bit sore. And I'm actually really considering getting an e-bike just so I have that difference of being off-road and being on my downhill bike and in the dirt and fun. But I want to actually get around town and I can't really use my mountain bike for that. So that's why I'm super stoked and excited to like get on this e-bike today.
Well, this is a really unique one. I mean, I just happen to have this, and hopefully we'll do some more like reviews together in the future. But there are some downhill mountain bikes actually that are electric, so you don't even need a chairlift.
Right?
It's just so cool. Anyway, so this is like only the second e-bike that you ever have tried.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The other one had a throttle or something. You were out on Vancouver Island.
And we're just kind of buzzing around on that. I'm sorry, I can't remember the brand of it, but it was a lot of fun because I was like, wait a sec, I don't have to work so hard to get up this hill and it's not going to prevent me from actually going to a place that I might not normally go.
Yeah.
So this is what's so great about e-bikes is I think that now it's going to give me more opportunity to ride longer and actually maybe approach some things that I thought might be too hard for me to do by just pedaling.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I don't know how into cycling your boyfriend is and stuff, but being able to go together and sort of like not worry about the terrain or if someone has a knee injury or whatever. Anyway, I just thought that was really cool, and I'm excited to get you on like kind of the mid-drive, and this is a little bit more European the way it's set up, and it's a compact. I mean, that's the name of the bike, so being approachable. You're not like super petite, but you know, a little bit lower standover height and stuff. What do you think about this bike, just having not ridden it yet? Like, are there any questions that come up for you, Cheryl?
Well, the biggest question I think I might have is I have a bike rack and I want to know, I know how to lift my mountain bike onto my rack.
Yeah.
But anything heavier than that, I'm a little concerned about how I might do this bike and how I would get that there. Or for instance, how am I going to lift it into my place up the stairs and that kind of stuff.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So this is, even though it is compact and it's a little bit shorter and stuff, you might save some space. It still weighs like 51.6 pounds. The battery pack right here, I'm really glad that they went with the Bosch PowerPack because it's a lot lighter than the integrated power tube. Like Bosch has a new one that's right inside the frame and it looks cool, but this is actually, I mean, it's 5.7 pounds versus like 7.5 or something on the other ones. And that's without even adding a case. A lot of them have like covers. So this battery, and the way it's positioned right there towards the center, and then the motor weight, this is like 6.5 pounds, a lot lighter. The old Performance Line CX, that was 8.8 pounds. So I guess I'm getting technical here, but I'm really happy to see how much lighter this bike is, considering they had these other heavier options to use. And we were back at the house earlier and we were talking about this bike and you lifted it up, and I mean, I was like, be careful, it's heavier than it looks.
Right?
Like, was it okay for you?
Actually, well, I'm going to try it again.
You're going to do it again? Okay,
yeah, I'm
cool,
just going to kind of pretend that I'm going to
lift with your legs, right?
Yeah, and then I would just
stow the kickstand.
Okay. So I guess the best way to probably lift this guy would be to kind of use my legs and come up like this. Actually, this isn't bad at all.
Nice.
It feels like I can actually do that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And you mentioned car racks. So do you remember the kind of car rack you have? It's like Rocky Mounts?
Yeah, I've got a Rocky Mount and it's actually pretty wide. So I know that this would actually fit on there really well.
That's really good because these are, I mean, one of the things they did right with this bike is they've got these smaller 20-inch wheels, which brings the whole thing down, lower standover height, lower rack, lower center of gravity that way. But a lot of times comfort and stability are sacrificed with these small wheels because you have this higher attack angle that just like runs into obstacles instead of like smoothing them out with a huge wheel. It's always like a trade-off. And so what they've done instead is they've got these Supermoto X tires. These are 20 by 2.4. So 2.4 is like that, the width of the tire right there, compared to like 1.75 or something on like a traditional road bike. So I feel like that's going to give it stability. You can lower the air pressure on these a little bit to give you some comfort. I think the PSI rating here is like 30 to 65. So depending on your weight and then how much cargo you have on it, you don't want to go too low because you can get like a pinch flat and stuff. But if you're just riding around and you want to be comfortable, these tires can do that. And again, there's no suspension on this. The seat post is pretty custom. This is like 430 millimeters tall. So they're trying to make this frame fit a wide range of users. Like if you're tall, you can put it way up. You can raise the the stem. There's an adjustable angle here. So it's a pretty versatile bike that way, but comfort is something that you can't adjust as much unless you get a shorter seat post. And I mean, finding a suspension fork. So anyway, I feel like those tires are pretty good. I'm glad that they would fit in your car rack, because getting this places could be a challenge. Like, my car rack didn't actually fit it super well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, it has that front clamp thing that comes down,
Right.
just like yours.
Yeah.
And it didn't go, like, it just almost went, but it wasn't actually pushing, so I had to wrap bungee cords around it and stuff like that.
Mine adjusts either way, so I'm pretty sure I could get that that on the front tire, no problem with this. One other thing I have a question about.
Yeah.
What if I'm feeling a little randy and I want to actually go on a little bit of dirt with this thing? How does this handle on some gravel or dirt?
That's a great question. I actually haven't tried it off-road, but I'm guessing with back to like the tire pressure, lowering it a little bit and being able to just put your feet down if you do start to slide out or something, we might be able to find, like, there's some gravel up there. We can mess around on it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and actually I think these tires, we've got some puncture protection going on, and there we go. So these are performance. Down here there's this little performance green guard, so there is a layer of thicker, like, stiffer plastic that stops thorns and stuff from puncturing these quite as easily. And then the reflective sidewall. So the bike comes in two colors. You've got glossy white here, or there's this matte blue with some red accents. The white's going to stand out a lot more. The reflective sidewalls are great, and I love how they put the light so high like this, because they could have mounted it. A lot of times they do mount it way down here, but this is a smaller bike, and if you're riding in traffic or something, you want to have that big visual footprint on the side. We've got a nice integrated light in the rear, and I guess if you're going off-road, you can kind of just like aim this down and then spot the trail and go on your adventure.
I was just gonna say that, like, I love it that it actually moves up and down, because when you do come to pedestrians, they'll be like,
yeah, right.
You know, when I've done my night riding before, so I'm always like trying to be conscious of having it in a spot where it doesn't meet someone's eyes.
This one actually has like a nice cutoff on the top too, so there's like the top of the beam is flattened out and it doesn't shine up. It kind of spreads out downwards, and it's flat on the top specifically for that reason. This is a European, actually Cube's a German company, and a lot of the parts here are a little bit more European, where I think their legislation's a little bit more strict and considerate about traffic and stuff. So good eye. Do you want to hop on this thing? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and straddle the bike here.
How do we start this?
That's a great question. I was recommending like standing over it, because just as a best practice, if the bike is on, we don't want it to get away from you. Yeah. And actually the seat's a little bit high, Cheryl. Maybe we should do you think that's too high for you?
Yeah, let's give that a test. Actually, I'll give it a shot myself here.
Okay.
See if I can
27.2 millimeters on that, and again 430. I think it only goes down to there without cutting the post, because it's so long. So if you're someone who's really petite, you might physically have to like hacksaw that seat post. Yeah, I think that's
probably good there.
Yeah, we'll do our best. I think it went down a little bit. One of the other things as you're getting on, these pedals cycle backwards, and the kickstand is kind of blocking. So if you ever have the kickstand down, you're backing this bike out of a garage or something, that's something to watch out for. Will you wheel it forward and kind of kick the kickstand? Sweet. And then, if we straddle the bike again, then turn it on, we'll just kind of have a control of the bike, right? Okay. There's a little button on top of the Purion display. This display is really simple. All it has is like a plus and a minus to raise or lower assist. So you could start without any assist and just pedal like a regular bike. Okay. And as soon as you're ready for a little bit of juice, you just press that plus button and you should feel it. It's very dynamic. The drive system on this bike, it's like overkill. They went with the Performance Line CX. It's a mountain biking motor, up to 85 Newton meters of torque with a recent like software update that Bosch has pushed out. And this thing is measuring your pedal speed, your pedal torque, and your rear wheel speed, all three signals over 1,000 times per second.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's got shift detection. You got 10 gears, and you know how to shift gears, right? I like that the shifter on this, they actually have two-way for the high lever, so you can pull or push, and that's great because a lot of times you might leave your pointer fingers and stuff on the brake lever, and you want to just use your thumb for shifting. So I feel like, again, they really went over the top with this bike. It's like kind of overbuilt in my opinion, but that's great if this is the kind of bike that you want to ride. I mean, even the rack, did you notice this? There's like a rack mount on the head?
Yeah, which is great because then you can really, I mean, to me, it's like it would be an excellent city riding bike, and just being able to zip around, or maybe you can commute to work on it, right?
Yeah, totally. It'd be great for commuting. I'm glad you mentioned that, the fenders and the rear rack. But sometimes, have you ever had like a basket for one of your bikes? Is that your thing?
When I was a kid.
Yeah, okay, right?
They don't unfortunately fit cord on my mountain bikes.
Yeah.
But that would be so cute, and a lot of my mountain bike friends would be like, we're never riding with you again.
All your stuff would rattle right out, like flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what they've actually done a really good job here mounting it to the steer tube, because a lot of baskets, the cheaper ones, they just kind of hang on the handlebars and then they're bouncing around. They impact your steering. If you park, that tips to the side. So this bike, it's like a little utility bike too. I mean, it's cute. I like it a lot. Anyway, so we got distracted. So that's kind of it. Press plus, press minus, ride along, be safe.
Okay.
And I'm excited to hear what you think, because this is probably more advanced than the last bike that you tried.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a few extra components on it for sure, but I'm excited to give it a try too.
Go get it.
Awesome. I'll see you in a bit.
See you, Cheryl.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, let's do some little gear shifting here.
There she goes.
All right, let's go. Gonna use some assist here.
I think she's turning up the juice. Yeah, Cheryl's a pretty capable rider. And look, she's braking. I think she turned on the lights.
Oh, that is awesome. It turns great.
Nice. It's got a good turning radius. Did you turn on the light?
No, I didn't.
Because your rear light went on. Okay, so check this out. I didn't mention this. I didn't want to overcomplicate it, but if you hold the plus button, it activates the lights. I wonder if you were pressing the plus. Yeah, you're all the way up in turbo. You're having a blast. So yeah, we might have activated the lights. We were talking about how this one has like a cutoff on top, and so it kind of aims and spreads the beam down before. But that rear light, even though it's daytime, it's got 2 LEDs, so I could really see that when you're riding.
That's awesome.
What do you think? How did this feel?
You know, the first thing is like turning ratio on my mountain bike compared to this. I'm like, what? I can like stunt turn this, man. Like I could just make a really quick turn, and it just started to go. But actually, what I like about this bike over the last one I rode is that I still feel like I'm doing the work, and it's not as much of a like kickoff. Like it's just like a little bit more of an assist, which is nice, right? So then that way I don't have to worry about not getting my exercise and still using it as a bike. But at the same time, if I reach a big hill, like there's one up there, I'd like to kind of try it maybe up there, and then that way when I start to approach the hill, I could just use that assist a little bit more there. I love the turning ratio. I love the fact that I mean, even though the seat post is a bit long, I feel like it's at a good height for me.
You were stable enough on it?
Yeah, it was completely stable. It was beautiful. It's a great ride.
Fantastic. Yeah, and as someone, I really like the Bosch drive system. It's got really good sensors in there, so as you shift gears, it'll actually ease off a bit so you don't grind them. Yeah. And you're like veteran mountain biker, you know how to shift gears appropriately. But for a lot of people, if you're just like getting into cycling and you're going to use this to commute every day, and you aren't shifting as thoughtfully, it can wear the drivetrain out. So the fact that they even went with such a high-end derailleur here. This is the Shimano Z. It does have a one-way clutch, which tightens it up. It's a short cage derailleur, so it won't hit the ground. It's not sticking out too much, so it won't hit curbs as much. I mean, there's still it's a bit vulnerable down there, but they did the best they could. And then 11 to 36 tooth cassette with 10 speeds. Like you said, this is probably more natural, like a traditional bicycle, but with that extra boost, that assist to help you climb. Do you want to go give it a try?
I'm gonna go up that hill now.
Sweet. Good luck.
I feel like I'm cheating a little bit though. Oh my God, look at that. I love it.
That's awesome. Oh boy.
Look at how smooth this rides. It's amazing. I love this.
Wow. Whoa. Nice braking too. It
stops on a dime as well. Really nice brakes on here. So explain the braking system to me, Court.
Yeah, right. So it has these Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, and they've gone with a 160 millimeter in the rear, but 180 up front. And considering these are 20-inch tires or 20-inch wheels, you get an enormous mechanical advantage over them. So of course, stopping is, you might almost want to be like a little careful, because I could see people, especially on gravel, like, you know, one of the things that I come back to with hydraulic versus mechanical, and you might have some something to add to this as someone who's you've been cycling for a while. What are your thoughts? I mean, how did the brakes feel to you?
Well, the brakes felt like I felt safe using them abruptly, and I think that that's going to be a really big selling component for this bike, specifically for city riding.
Exactly.
Is that you're going to be behind a car, they're not going to see you. Maybe, well, they might with the bright white.
Hopefully.
You know, and I feel that a lot of folks that city ride aren't really conscious of the drivers around them, and I always want to assume I also ride motorcycles too. So I come from that vein of thought of just being safe and being seen, and also being able to stop. Those are the things that are going to keep me safe anytime I'm riding a motorcycle or a bicycle. And now that you've got the motor component to this and you can go a little bit faster, you could sneak up on a vehicle very quickly, and they might not see you there, right?
Or just expect it. They're like, that's a bike. Like they're really zooming on this thing. So on that note, I like to hit the technical specs. So we mentioned 85 Newton meters of torque, 340% assist feedback. That means if you're putting out 300 watts, it's multiplied by 3.4 times. It's really, that's the maximum support it can give you. It is a very capable motor, especially in that highest level assist. But there are these 3 other levels, you know, Eco, Tour, and Sport. Before I get too much into that, with the brakes being hydraulic, there is this adjustable reach feature where you can kind of bring the levers in a little bit if you have smaller hands. I like that this has these sort of ergonomic grips, and they're locking. And this comes back to like the setup. How did the saddle feel to you, by the way, Cheryl?
Actually, it feels great. I don't think I'd switch the saddle out on this bike. I'm used to having quite a hard saddle because of mountain biking, and I also have a dropper seat. So as you can see, I actually like to stand because that actually gives me a little bit more bang for my buck too, especially if I want to do a little bit of strengthening, and sometimes if I'm going down a hill, that's always like the kid comes out in me, and I like to like stand up on the pedals, and you know, and also another way, and this is going to sound silly, but another way I test a bike and the capacity of how it actually steers is I take my hands off it and I see how safe do I feel, how is the wheel going off wonky here on me, and I mean I do this on my mountain bikes too. So I did this on this one and it drove in a straight line. It's almost like it had a perfect wheel alignment, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So that to me, the safer that I feel, that means that the more I'm going to be able to ride it in the city, and the more likability it would be that I would get on a bike like this and ride it around town, right?
So well put. And one of the things I like to do when I'm doing ride tests and stuff is that no hand maneuver. And it's like, I don't want to be a bad example or something, but there's something, you know, we're on a street, there's not a lot of traffic. It feels pretty stable, and you're kind of testing the bike. You felt very confident because you put your hands like way out.
I know, right? Like the Titanic, right? I was like,
like on the front of the bow. That was pretty awesome. So all of these great features, you know, I mentioned I've a couple complaints. It's like, okay, you know, their bike weighs a little bit. You got the kickstand placement and stuff. But the fact that they got the water bottle cage right here, they didn't skimp on that, and you could put a folding lock or a bottle, it's within reach, or some mounts up here. You got lots of options for panniers or like a trunk bag, and it's clear of the saddle, got the lights. This is a really premium setup, and it's confidence in building in that sense, but it's also, this is $39.99 USD. I mean, is it worth it? Like who would want to spend that money for this?
Okay, I would if I was specifically getting this bike only for getting around town, or actually wanting to commute a little bit and getting away from transit. I would pay the price, because I'm working at a place right now that I'm able to actually do that, and I could commute, but it's like, am I gonna do that with my, like, you know, $7,000 mountain bike? Probably not. You know what I mean? Because there's a likability that, and that I'm gonna wear my tires down. It's not designed for me to be riding it on the road, but this is designed for that. And I mean, I think working professionals would probably spend the price, although, you know, for younger folks, they might not actually want to spend the price on something like this and go for something, you know, at a better price point, or a student might. But who knows? Maybe if the student doesn't have a car at all, and this is the way for them to get to school quicker,
no license, no insurance,
and not have to rely on transit.
Totally.
I mean, then it's a great investment, right?
Could you actually see yourself? I mean, the battery on this goes from something from like 30 to 80 miles per charge. It really depends on what level of assist and how much engagement. The way you described this before is like, yeah, I'm actually working, but you're also up in turbo, and you felt, did it feel like you could climb with this pretty well just a minute ago?
Like absolutely, like not a problem at all. I mean, to be honest, anybody else listening? Okay, good. To be honest, that's the worst thing for me as a mountain biker, is that you get that thrill and that joy of like being at that top of the hill and coming down, but then if you want to go do another run, you've got to like, oh my goodness, how tired am I? Am I really going to do another run? Am I going to either walk my bike up that big long hill to get back up to the top?
Yeah.
I would love to have some assistance.
Well, and you and I, we're like night people. We were just talking about how waking up early in the morning, and then, I mean, you're all excited. You're like, I got my new e-bike, and I'm going to commute to work. And then it's like early and cold, and you're like, I got that hill, and I got the wind. With a very capable drive system, a lot of that becomes less of an issue, and you actually can ride every single day. The comfort thing, you haven't, you know, it'd be interesting to get your thoughts, like riding up these driveways, or me, you know, through the rocks a little bit. Speaking for myself, I think these tires are a little full right now. It just came straight from City Cycles. That's the e-bike shop. They kind of loan me bikes to try occasionally and do reviews like this. I would lower the tires, but there's no suspension. You're coming from full suspension mountain bike. If we're talking about a 10-mile commute by bike, which this is very capable, and this is capable of at least 30 miles, comfort-wise. You know, do you have any thoughts about that? I was probing with the saddle and with the grips and stuff.
Yeah, you know, ergonomically speaking, I'm thinking that your center of balance, I'm just going to get on it for a sec.
Yeah.
You want to do me a favor?
Yeah.
You can hold
this.
Just hold that for me there.
And I'll move us right here a little bit.
And then if you just put the tire kind of between your legs and brace it like that,
Yeah.
and then you just hold me upright for a moment, if that is able to do that. I'm just going to kind of get up on it, and then we'll see here. See, for ergonomics for my body,
Yeah.
I'm like 5'6.5", 124 pounds. So it's actually perfect for someone like me.
Wow.
Ergonomics wise, because you can see how I'm sitting here. And then when you stroke down like here, your basically your knee should be slightly bent, but not completely bent. So a lot of times people will ride their bikes like this where their knee is bent, but then you're not actually getting the stroke and the ergonomics in the body.
Yeah.
And actually where the seat is for me right now and where the hands are here, I've got my elbow slightly bent. I still feel that I can come forward a little bit, but my center of balance is actually right over top of the bike.
Fantastic.
Which I feel is good for a lot of people, and perhaps maybe my size as well.
Sure, and you do like massage therapy, and I mean, you have so many skills. And so hearing you talk about alignment, it reminds me of when I got fitted for my bike, and I'm glad that this just happens to work. I could just kind of like set it up, you know, just threw it together before we came out here. But yeah, getting like full leg extension, like you're talking about.
Full leg extension. I would like to have my feet on the ground a little bit more.
And that's why so many people ride like a frog, right? Where
Exactly,
their feet are...
right? I would like to have them down just a little tiny bit more, but when you take my feet up onto the pedals, you can see that that's actually where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you know, when I work with beginning mountain bike people, I'll always say, you know, you're going to get up on the pegs when you're coming down, and you can do the same thing with a city bike. And then when you're getting on and off it, I mean, and because of this beautiful spacing we have right here, you can simply just draw yourself forward and come down onto the bike.
Plenty of clearance.
And lots of clearance safety wise.
Yeah.
The pedals, I'd probably switch the pedals out. These ones are plastic. They're going to get wrecked pretty quickly, especially just, you know, even though this bike has a kickstand, I'm always one to definitely get, you see these little knobbies on the pedals?
Yeah.
These are really great for wearing, you know, the mountain bike shoes that I have, because they've got little spaces in them that actually kind of go and clip a little bit in these that I will give you a little bit more grip. And anything that I say that makes you feel more safe on a bike is definitely what you want to go with. Now, if you get into the metal pedals, then you're going to probably get even a little bit more grip off of them with just everyday average shoes, right? Right now with these pedals, I feel like what I'm wearing here for runners. These aren't something I would normally wear, but for biking, but I did this purposely today so that I could just see what is this like if I wanted to get to work, wear just a pair of regular runners, or if I wanted to ride around town and wear a cute outfit for a date.
Right?
You know, and you don't want to
put that basket in
you
the
don't want to,
line or
like,
something.
you know, bring the whole mountain gear out, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I actually feel with the gear I'm wearing, and I mean, I could actually feel like I could do even more, right?
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Fantastic.
So feeling safe is a good thing.
We got it. There. We just wanted to make sure that worked. We got the fun signal. There's more to cover on this. There's a few more things. It's got the quick release, and we've got this really cool like stem setup here that telescopes up and down, but it also swivels, and I just want to show that because I got your help.
Cool.
So if we here, just a second, push this silver thing up.
Oh,
there
that's so
you
cool.
go.
I love it.
Yeah.
So this would be great if I needed to store it somewhere then, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or even you could, which, you know what, on the back of my car rack, I would put it like this, because that's happened where it wasn't quite secure and then your bar hits your window. And so this would prevent that.
Or fitting two bikes, like your mountain bike, most mountain bikes have really wide handlebars, and sometimes you have to like put them in different directions, but they're still colliding a little bit. This is a really, I mean, it's pretty fancy. Go ahead and bring it back, but it's not just a little bit more. There we go. It actually locks into place. You can raise those.
Nice.
That's as high as it will go right there. So coming back to the different body types that this would fit, go ahead and bring it down to where it was comfortable for you. Was that about right?
Yeah, I'd say, like, you know, just for ergonomics wise, you probably kind of want to have your shoulders just, and then your elbows and your wrists probably in line like this. And this is going to prevent you from kind of ergonomically speaking, for the lower back. A lot of riders actually might not ride bikes because of lower back issues.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking on a bike like this is actually going to promote you to stay in that really nice posterior spine, so that you can allow yourself to actually sit a little bit more evenly on the center of the gravity of the bike, and then also not be hunched over like this and rolling over into your tech's neck.
Yeah, right.
That a lot of us are doing all day long.
Well, and with the adjustable stem, I mean, again, I just feel like they did such a good job with this. They use high quality parts that are really well labeled, and everything, like these fenders, these are custom. So this is acid. That's like done by Cube. That's their accessory line. Look how far down it goes. I actually was scuffing that on curbs when I was going off earlier, and in some ways it's like, is it too long? But it's got really good support, and it's not vibrating a whole lot. It connects directly to the rack in multiple points. I really scrutinized this bike before we came out here, like what's the trade-offs here? And for me, the biggest ones were just the price and the weight. For someone who wants this type of bike, I consider this to be like top of the line right now. And that's kind of it. I mean, I feel like we've covered everything here. Is there anything you feel like we missed or you want to add?
You know, one thing I'd like to do, and I'm wondering if I can just do it.
Gonna go on the rocks?
I'm gonna go up on the rocks, but those people might come screaming at me outside the house. What are you doing on my property? There's
this field it's kind of like a dirt lot over there. You could kind of ride through and get a little bit of off-road. Do be careful. I mean, I know we're having fun out here and everything, but with the smaller, have you ever ridden like a folding bike before with the small wheels?
This is the first time I've ever ridden a bike with small wheels.
It's just a little jarring is how I feel about it. So approach carefully. This technically is not a folding bike, and that's one of the benefits. Like a compact electric bike like this, you're getting some of the benefits of a folding bike, but you're getting the frame strength and just the performance of a more of a full-size bike. And so with that said, we go for it.
Let's do it.
Take your time, and even just going up these driveways here and getting a feel.
And I'll go up a little bit on this grass right here.
Cool.
No one's looking. See how she goes. Not bad.
Did the bike power off? You still got support?
Yep.
Cool.
Actually, pretty good torque. Looks like I feel like I have pretty good handle on things. So if you do get any rocks or any kind of gravel on the road, or a dump truck all of a sudden is in front of you and a whole bunch of gravel's on the road, you'll be safe. I just made it through those treacherous rocks there.
Fantastic. Cheryl, I'm so glad you could make some time to meet me out here and to help with this. She's doing some family trip stuff. Hopefully in the future we'll see her again. You've got so many great insights. You guys, I love you. I hope this helps you to understand the Cube Compact Sport Hybrid. Cube makes great products, I think. And my goal is just to help you make an informed decision and answer all your questions. So ride safe out there. Check out ElectricBikeReview.com for all the specs. The Cube website didn't really cover a lot of them, but I've measured them by hand here. We spent some time looking at it back at the house. And that's about it.
What does this Class 1 mean?
Oh, that's a great question, Cheryl.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a little sticker. It says Class 1 250W 20.
250 watt, 20 mile per hour. So this is the most legal electric bike to ride. There are 3 classes. So class 1 is 20 miles per hour, pedal assist only in North America. In Europe, it's 15.5 miles per hour. But then class 2 is with a throttle, still 20 miles per hour. That's what you had out on the island.
Yeah, that was, and that just, it felt so much faster for some reason. I guess maybe because I'm used to riding a dirt bike and riding street bikes, that I'm used to that kind of throttle action, and I'm a little bit more quicker to my timing. This just takes me a little longer. So actually, this bike would probably keep me more safe.
Well,
I wouldn't be like, you know, just on the throttle the whole time.
It's nice, you know, there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with the throttle. It's a nice way to get started, because unless you have a bike like this that is so responsive, like the second you start to put power, like leg power into those cranks, you really don't have to strain your knees or anything. It's so responsive and powerful with the CX motor that it helps you, you know. But for a lot of bikes that have maybe a hub motor and cadence sensors, they're just, you have to do that first portion of work. And with a sensitive knee like I have from my injuries, a throttle is pretty appealing in those situations. But then it's class 2 and you can't go on as many mountain bike trails and things. And so if you want a bike that is semi off-road capable, or you just like that European, like I'm pedaling, I'm engaging with the bike, class 1's where it's at. And then they have class 3, which is like high speed commuting, which goes up to 28 miles per hour.
Okay.
Yeah, which again, it's not allowed on quite as many trails either. So this is just going to be the most versatile, universally accepted platform. I do want to mention, back at ElectricBikeReview.com, there's like a comparison tool, and I have a whole category called compact. And so there are some other bikes out there that do have mid-drives that also have a throttle that's compact. It, you know, in most cases, it's not quite as advanced as the Bosch system. And I want to point out that even though this display, it's compact, it's easy to read and everything, it's got a couple extra things we didn't discuss here, where if we hold the minus key, we go from trip distance to total distance, like an odometer. Hold it again, we get range, which dynamically updates. So we're in turbo and it said something like 45 kilometers. Go down to eco, which is the lowest level. Now it's telling us 105 kilometers. So there's, you know, you really can get a workout. You can just kind of like shave the weight of the bike by going to that eco mode and get long range, or you hit the hill and you just click up to sport or turbo and you get the performance.
So I think I was on turbo the whole time, wasn't I?
I think you were. Yeah, actually, do you want to do another, you know, if just take it around on eco for a second?
And then and to stay in eco, it's the bottom button?
Yeah, it's there now. So if you want to change, you press plus again, but it's just each click changes the assist level.
I see, okay.
And then the final thing to show you is it's the holding the minus. That's what changes the readouts. So now it says here's the level you're in, eco. If we hold it, it goes trip distance, odometer, range. So those are the 3 things. If you want to change from kilometers to miles, hold minus and tap power. That changes units. So there are a few things you kind of, it's a little bit, you know, there's some steps because there are fewer buttons. The cool thing about Bosch is they do have like an Intuvia display, Kiox, Purion is the one that we're here, but they have another one called Nion that's coming out to the United States and Canada in later 2020. So
awesome.
Their system can be upgraded, which is, you know, back to like, yeah, you're paying a lot, but you have a lot of options, and they do the firmware updates for the motor. So
if I just leave it the way it is now, and then if I pedal, it's just going to basically kick in?
Same thing, just a lot less support. So before you were getting up to 340%, 85 newton meters of torque. Now you're getting 40 newton meters of torque and like 50% support. So it's a lot less. Maybe you could even play with Tour and Eco and let me know what you're thinking.
Okay, so just if I just don't touch anything on here and leave it on Eco, I can give it a try?
Yeah, give it a try.
All right, let's see what that says.
Good luck.
I'm excited now. Woo! Oh yeah, this is a big difference for sure.
She says big difference. But she's still zipping along. Looks like we got someone playing guitar and singing in there. It's pretty cool.
It's riding much more like a bike now.
A lot more like a bike.
A lot more like a bike, yeah.
Try Tour. Do the next one up.
Okay, this is it.
Yeah?
So, if you want to work out, Eco.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? Get to the hill, you're tired, but you know, you still want a bit of a workout, definitely the next one up, and then Turbo if you're just really dead-ass tired.
Sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some good options in there.
No,
it's nice
absolutely.
to see you.
I like the fact that it has those 3 options, because then that way you can really choose what you're doing. Like, let's say you want to get to work, you know you need to get there. just use the turbo option, right?
Totally.
Especially if you know you're going up hills the whole way there, and when you come home, you could just put it on the eco option and get a little bit of a ride in, a little bit of a pedal.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Cheryl, I know we're probably making you late. I hope not, but thank you for spending so much time with me today to look at this bike. Your insights are just phenomenal, and it's fun to ride
It's so
together.
Nice to like be invited out. I want to do this again.
Yeah.
I love this.
We'll do more. It's great. We'll get some mountain bikes. How about that?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, let's get some mountain bikes with E capability on them.
Rock on. Well, I'll bring you back, and then I've got a few more technical specs that I'll do a little bit later.
All right. Thanks, Court.
Thanks.
Take care.
Tons of fun. I love Cheryl. She's just great. So there are a few things that kind of skimmed over, and I want to be as complete as possible because this is a pretty fancy bike. One of which is really nice rims here, and look at this. We've even got those eyelets, and that creates even more strength. So the rims don't crack as easily, and it makes it easier to adjust and true the rims. That is nice. It costs extra, and it makes this bike a little bit sturdier for carrying heavier loads. The way that the tubing is set up here, I already talked about how it reduces frame flex, and the way that the rack, the optional front basket rack, isn't going to turn when you turn the bike. It's going to be able to handle more weight. And this rear rack back here, I'm guessing this is rated for like 25 kilograms, 55 pounds. It does not say, but just going by what I've seen before, and it's got the pannier hanger, and then the little loop at the bottom for a bungee cable if you want, and a platform on top with a clasp. It's a nice rack, and it's positioned well, and there's enough space for like probably a full-size pannier to hang down. Then notice this alloy guard. Okay, it's not a full guide, but it does keep your pant legs or your dress end from touching the chain, getting snagged, getting dirty. The chain did fall off when I was, I think, transporting it to my house on my car rack because it was bouncing around, and I had to get my hand a little bit greasy putting the chain back on track, but it did, and I think it's pretty well protected there. At least it's not going to fall off to the outside of that chain ring. And this is a really nice derailleur. This whole setup is done really well. I love how the cables are all internally routed, so it's really clean. They're not going to snag on anything. And we've got this like plastic shield around the Bosch Performance Line CX motor. It's the new 4th generation, really compact, beautiful. Just everything has done really well. You can see the charging port for the battery. It's a little bit low. It'd be nice if it was up higher, but the keys for the battery pack are from Ebike, which they're the nicer one. I mean, it's a pretty good company. They make locks and stuff. And actually these keys, they come with Your Plus, like a key code, so you can actually get a folding lock that matches your battery. And then maybe you mount that right there on the frame, and that way you only have one key to worry about. Or check this out, really easy to miss, but there are these holes right here on either side, and that's actually for mounting a frame lock, which puts a rod through the spokes here, and it basically secures the rear wheel. So someone would physically have to pick your bike up and run away with it. They can't ride it away. That's really nice. And I reviewed another bike with a frame lock or cafe lock recently, and someone in the comments had said, you know, oh, they mounted it on top of the seat stays, which is more vulnerable if someone comes at it with a hammer or something. So you really want to mount it below, and that's what Cube has set this up for. It's totally ready for a frame lock. Now they are, even though they're giving you the nicer PowerPack 500 high capacity, they're giving you the slower 2 amp charger, compact. This weighs like 1.2, 1.3 pounds, but it's only 2 amp versus 4 amp, which means it's going to take a little bit more time to charge that battery. And, you know, probably not the end of the world. This is still a very efficient system, but considering they got the CX motor, which uses more energy, it's nice that they went with the higher capacity battery. So I'm going to insert the key, twist it, and then I want to be careful here that it doesn't fall off, because there isn't like a retainer mechanism. It just sort of comes off. We got that loop. You can take this off, 5.7 pounds, take it with you, charge it off the bike or on the bike. It's a pretty good setup. Again, the charging point right here it's kind of in the way of that left crank arm, but so is the kickstand. So I guess with compact bikes, there's only so much space to fit all of that in. And frankly, I think they've done a good job just with positioning. And it's got a little cap and everything. When you put the battery back on, just make sure you hear it click, right? And then maybe even pull on it, because I have ridden off before and had the battery just fall right off, which is like such a bummer. It kind of breaks your heart. These are expensive. You don't want to damage that. Okay, guys, you're connected to that 27.2 millimeter rigid seat post. You could always replace it with a suspension post. It might be hard to find one that's as long as this. So if you're someone who's really tall and you've got that all the way up, you know, keep that in mind. I do have the minimum saddle height, maximum saddle height, standover height, all those measurements back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And my goal is just to help empower you. If you get this bike, you can set it up perfect for yourself. And there are suspension posts like Thudbuster. They have like a longer version. So instead of 300 or 350 millimeters, which is kind of standard for posts, you can get something that's closer to this, which is again 430. 44 tooth standard steel chainring with that nice alloy guide up front to keep your pants clean. In the back, we've got 11 to 36 tooth 10-speed cassette. Really nice setup there. Almost overkill compared to what you really need for just riding around the city, especially with such a powerful motor. The crank arms, by the way, they're 165 instead of 170, so they're a little bit shorter, and I think that's to reduce the potential for pedal strikes, which is when your pedal's down and you turn and it hits the ground like that. So they've done a really good job with the drivetrain. Same thing with that Shimano Z derailleur in the back, short cage. It's got the one-way clutch. This is one of the nicer, like, mountain bike rated derailleurs I've seen on any electric bikes. Again, it feels a little bit like overkill, but maybe that's how they were able to get the short cage. And I mean, might as well get that upgrade if the bike's going to be costing a little bit more like this. So I'm in turbo level of assist because that's going to make the motor more pronounced. You can get an idea of how it sounds. I have noticed that when I stop pedaling, there is that clunk feeling, right? Like I'm pedaling, I'm getting assist, and then when the assist shuts off, I feel it clunk like that, like into my foot. It might just take a while for the motor to break in and feel a little bit smoother. I welcome your feedback on that, but it's something I've noticed with all of the newer full-size chainring Bosch motors. There's no reduction gear here. You can cycle the pedal backward. It actually cycles through the drivetrain, which is good for maintenance and chain lubrication and stuff. But there is that little bit of a clunk. So it's a minor gripe, just something to think about. Let's go. Surprisingly quiet. I'm always really impressed. I'm pedaling at like a medium cadence here, but this thing can go all the way up to 120 RPM, which is great, especially if you're approaching a hill and you downshift to make it easier to pedal, but then your cadence speeds up. You don't want the motor to cut out on you, and this is the CX. This is the mountain bike motor. Very capable. So I'm going to try to demonstrate that. I'm going to go to a lower gear, I'm going to pedal fast, and give you an idea of how fast that motor actually contributes. Interesting. I mean, I think I was outpacing it a couple times. You could hear it kind of easing back, but some of that might be a factor of like, I think we're at 20 miles per hour. So there you go. Now I'm going to climb a hill a little bit and shift through the gears. You can try to listen for shift detection. It is software driven. It's not perfect, so there's still some banging. It's a good idea to ease off when you're shifting gears just so that the drivetrain shifts smoothly. It doesn't damage the teeth or the chain. Very nice, very responsive. Well, guys, I think that's finally it. This was a fun one. Went extra long because it was Cheryl's kind of second time on an e-bike, and I like to get those first reactions and just different insights. Everyone has a different experience. I feel like I learn something every time I go out, and I wanted to share that with y'all. This is the Cube Compact. It's the Sport Edition, and I enjoyed it. I think it's a really cool bike. I hope you did too. I'll be covering other bikes in the coming weeks and months and years, and I love you guys. Ride safe. We'll see you next time.